Welcome back again to Rinka's Kitchen. I have another family favorite recipe. It's called walnut roll, Diós Bejgli. And this is a recipe that my grandmother and mother made for Christmas and Easter. So the dough recipe calls for 6 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, the rind of 2 medium lemons, 2 cups of butter, 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening, 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of vanilla, 3 whole eggs, and approximately 2 tablespoons of milk. You may need more as the dough may be too dry, so you will probably need to use probably double that or even triple that. So what you want to do is you want to make the dough so that it's got a sticky-like consistency, so that when you touch it, it feels slightly sticky, but it's not going to stick right to your hand, so it's going to be kind of like a wet feel to it. So a filling is half a kilogram of walnuts, 3/4 cups of sugar, 3 tablespoons of vanilla, and 2 tablespoons of milk, 1 cup of golden seedless raisins. So that would be the filling mixture. So what I do is I begin by adding 3/4 cups of sugar, 3 tablespoons of vanilla, and 1 cup of golden seedless raisins to the half a kilogram of finely ground walnuts. So I'm going to just show you what this mixture looks like. So I've prepared that ahead of time, so I let the vanilla stand in the pecans or the walnuts. So sometimes I use pecans if I can't get a hold of a fresh batch of walnuts, so I would use pecans, also ground pecans. So what I do, then I would continue to do that, and then mix together all that, and then I would mix together the flour, the baking powder, salt, and the rind of 1 lemon. With a hand mixer or electric mixer, I combine the butter, the shortening, the sugar, the vanilla, the eggs, and the rind of 1 lemon. And what I do is then I gradually add the flour mixture to the butter mixture, and then I gently knead it together. And then slowly I add as much milk as needed to make the dough into a semi-sticky consistency. So when I touch the dough, it's not going to stick directly to my fingers. So I'm just going to show you what the dough should look like. So I'm just going to bring down the camera, and this is what the dough should look like. So when I touch it, it feels kind of a little bit slightly sticky, and it's not going to be a dry dough, because you're going to have to be able to roll it. So that's what that should look like, the dough when it's done. Then what I do is I separate the dough into medium-sized mounds, and I've shown you that. And then I roll out the mound into a rectangular shape, and that's what I've done here. So I'm just going to move over the ingredients back here. And what I did with a rolling pin, what I did was I floured down a surface. So I'm just going to bring down the camera slightly. So what I did was I rolled out the mound of dough that looks like this, and I rolled it out into a rectangular, sort of like a rectangular shape, and then I filled it with the walnut mixture, and then I spread it with a knife, like a sort of a butter knife. So something like this will do just fine. So it's sort of like this, but then you also need a spoon to spoon out the walnut mixture, and then you have to spread it. And I've already done that. I've just spread it sort of like on the inside part of the rectangular shape, and I've left a little bit of space around the edges of the dough. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the short end of the dough, and I'm going to roll it, start rolling it. So the short end, the short end of the dough, and I'm going to tightly roll it. And do it gently, because it can break apart. So gently roll it together, and you're going to end up with a sort of a cylinder shape And then you're going to take the ends and you're going to sort of push them down like that, and then you're going to fold in your ends like that. You're going to tuck them in like that. Making sure that it's closed on the ends, and you make it kind of neat and tidy. And then what I do is then I put it onto a cookie sheet like this, and I'm going to show you. It's kind of like a walnut. It's kind of like a walnut roll. So I've kind of rolled it into sort of a, I'm just going to make room for the other one, then I'll kind of reshape it a little bit. And I'm going to put this other one in here. And I'm going to press it down. I'm going to turn it over just to make it look nicer on the edges, and I'm going to tuck in the ends, sort of fold in the ends, make it kind of tidy looking, because when it cooks, when it bakes, then you want it to look like, make it look sort of nice. And that's what I'm going to continue to do with all of the mounds of dough. So I'm going to roll out another piece, and then I'm going to spread the walnut filling into sort of like mainly on the middle part of it, but then leaving a little bit of an edge at the side, because you don't want to over add too much walnut filling into it, because what happens is that the top will burst open, so you don't want to have that happening. So what I've done is I've preheated the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So once I've got all of these walnut rolls done and filled, I'm going to put them in the oven for about a half an hour at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I'm going to bring the temperature down to 325 degrees Fahrenheit for another additional 15 minutes. Now the tops of your walnut rolls should be brown. So you take them out of the oven, you cool them, wait till they're cooled, and you can cut them up as needed. So you want to make sure that it's cooled, and make sure that you use a serrated knife, and that you cut it about ½ inch thickness. And then what you can do is you can sprinkle powdered icing sugar before you serve it for your guests. So you cut up as much as you need, and any leftover walnut roll, if you want to freeze it, you make sure that you wrap it in wax paper, and then put it into a freezer container, and it freezes well, and you can take it out, you can thaw it out in the microwave, warm it up, and then of course slice it up into ½ inch pieces, and then you can sprinkle the powdered icing sugar on the top of it, and it smells and it looks amazing. The vanilla, I can already smell the vanilla from the filling. It's not even in the oven yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue doing that, filling up all the dough with walnut filling, and then I'm going to show you what this wonderful recipe looks like cut up. And of course there will be a picture of it on my website. There is a copy of the recipe on my website, so you can have a look at that also. So I'll be back to show you what this great recipe looks like. Welcome back again to Arinka's Kitchen. I have in the oven some walnut rolls that I had put together, and they've been in the oven for approximately 30 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I lowered the temperature after a half an hour to 325 degrees Fahrenheit for another additional 15 minutes. So I've just taken them out of the oven, and I've made a total of 4 walnut rolls out of the recipe that I have. So I'm going to show you what this great recipe looks like. So here we have the walnut rolls, and as I mentioned before, you in order to cut up the rolls before serving them, you have to make sure that the rolls are cooled off, and then you use a serrated knife and you cut about a 1/2 inch thickness for the slices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what this looks like when the walnut rolls are sliced up. So I've kind of put them on a plate. So I'm just going to bring over the plate and I'm going to show you what this great recipe looks like. As you can see, there's the roll there, and then I've cut into it. It's sort of like a spiral inside, like a sort of like when you're making a jelly roll. But it has a different recipe to it. But that's what it looks like when it's cut up. And I put some powdered icing sugar on the top of it. I sprinkled it on there. It just gives it sort of a nice look to it. So I've put some on a plate, and I've also sprinkled some icing sugar with it. And this goes great with some tea, your favorite tea, if you want to serve it with your favorite tea or coffee. And so this is really a traditional recipe in my family. Like, my grandmother would prepare this about a week before Christmas, and this was served at Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day was a special treat for the family. And my mother has made this every year also. So she's also made some at her home, but I've also decided that I was going to make some and prepare some for my family and friends also. So I hope that you enjoy this great recipe, this treat recipe. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me at Irene@irinkaskitchen.com or irinkaskitchen.com. Until next time, bon appetit, jó étvágyat!